If you are 29 or 30 plus years old right now, then you are the last of the millennials, and this really is your now or never period. So if you're reaching this point right now, you're probably hearing that, 30 years old, 31, 32 years old is too old to get into the music industry. Now, it could depend on your genre, but for longevity or a great start, you might say, all right, 30 years old is too much or it's too old. And you may be in a position of, man, I've struggled all this time in my 20s trying to figure this thing out, and I'm finally ready to go because I got my act together and I got everything together ready to go. And you mean to tell me I still got more hurdles to cross, being that I'm a little bit further up in age than some of the young 20-year-old people? Like, I know this is a generational gap right here, but work with me. The thing is, you need to know that there is a lane for you, right? If you're older than 27, there is a lane for you. There is a fan base for you, but it's going to be acquired differently. And I don't want you to be disappointed, but you may be disappointed that you will probably have to go back in and put in that work all over again to appeal to a new fan base. So we're going to talk about that coming up right here on the Music Money Makeover Show. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Music Money Makeover Show. My name is Casey Graham, and I understand your position because I really didn't pop off until my 30s doing this. And I know it's a little bit different, but I had to get all that information from my 30s. You get what I'm saying? So we're going to jump into the show, but real quick, I want to thank everybody that came out to the Chattanooga Hip Hop Festival this past weekend. It was excellent. It was me, La Russell, Kadeem Phillips, Matt Hoffa, Iggy's Loudmouth Podcast. All of us were in the room, and it was a great turnout. Thank you to all the clients and all the music money makers that actually came to the show. There will be some video footage, and I'll put that up later, and I actually go through some of the points I talked about on the panel. You may see some of this stuff end up on La Russell's page as well. I'm quite sure because T and Splash and everybody was in there with the camera and all of that. So anyway, let's hop into today's show so you can get some of these disappointments out of the way. So the first thing that you're gonna have to get over in your 30s is that you gotta understand from 28 to 35, at this point in the 30s, like a little bit of late 20s, but going into 35, 36, 37, we don't spend money frivolously. All right, in this age group, you must be prepared for your money to flow a little slower than, say, if you're a hit artist in your 20s. People in their 30s have major life decisions they have to make, especially when it comes to money. And they don't want to try any and everything new all the time. This is the truth. So it takes more effort to pull those dollars out of their pockets. Quality will be key here to make us really say, hey, I really want to invest some of my attention and time in them, and eventually I want to give them some of my money. Now, it is true in your 30s, we've got a lot more money to deal with per se, depending on your situation. We really do have a lot more money to deal with than those in their 20s, and this is true. But the problem is we're holding it close because in our 20s, it was like we ain't have it. So when we first get it in the 30s, it's like, yo, I'm not really trying to spend this frivolously like I was in my 20s with every little bit that I got. So you have to understand that, all right? So you have to work a little bit harder at pulling the dollars out of 30-plus-year-old people's pockets. Now, we lost our early adoption status in our 20s. This is true. Now, some of us are still hipsters, like my guy over here that keeps showing up in the red. This is a dope looking dude. Anyway, everybody loves being on top of the latest trends. However, we're not adopting things too fast anymore. If we decide to add you to our playlist, it may be a minute before we show up in person. It just is what it is, man. We got bills to pay. We got kids, you know what I'm saying? We got other life matters, you know what I mean? Parents are getting old at this point. So it's different in the 30s. And so we're losing time here, available time. So we don't have as much time to adopt. And if we do adopt early, we're adopting from a far off position. Like we'll take a little bit longer to analyze what you're going to do. And again, this is back to spending more money. So you can kind of see how the disappointment is setting in. Like, man, I don't have that access of attention ready and available like I did in my 20s. Now, we want the most bang for our buck. Because we don't spend money frivolously, you'll want to entice us with value and quality. Whereas someone in their 20s may slide on this a bit, 30-year-olds and up won't accept lackluster products or experiences, and this is true. Value stacking your products and offers will make more of a splash with this base than anyone else. So if you can give to the 30-plus-year-old audience an offer packed with value that makes us spend $100, and we feel like, oh, yo, this is dope, I'm going to do this, then we will. And the thing about it is, if you're 27, 28, 29, like you're approaching that now or never moment, I got to do this. If you can pick up people right now in this moment then they're going to rock with you well into their 30s, because there's going to be a period where we want to deny that we're not in our 20s anymore. And then eventually, as long as you keep going along with them, they'll be with you, right? They may even bring their children along for the ride. This is indicative of Nicki Minaj when she was coming out. When she came out, she was 30. When she hit, she was 30. Nicki is 40 now, according to Wikipedia. You know what I mean? So, I mean, and Google, it's whatever. But if that is the case and she came out, you know, in her 30s, like, yo, who's to say? You never know what will happen. Of course, there were a lot of, you know, variables around her, but whatever. You know what I mean? We like consistency. It takes a lot of consistency for us to hop on your bandwagon. But when you're on at this point in our lives, we're on with you. We also won't stop talking about you because we want to feel like we're hip and have something new and fresh to mention around friends. You get what I mean? And it's funny because I did this the other day with La Russell. I was talking to one of my friends and she was like, man, I don't even know none of these new artists, you know, and we're mid 30. The mindset is changing at mid 30. Man, I don't know nothing about none of these new artists. I'm like, you don't know about La Russell? No, I don't know about La Russell. I don't know about none of these new people. I got my old playlist already set. And this is when the age group starts to get set in their ways. Like I said, you're losing your early adopters. You're losing the people who are hip and they're done. They're tired. You know what I mean? We've been through our 20s. You get what I'm saying? So we're loyal once we find a good thing. And this is true. Once we become loyal followers, we're buying what you have. 30 and ups want to spend their money on entertainment. They just need to know that you're going to stick around for a little while. And this is true. You get what I'm saying? Now, how long do I have if I'm starting now? You have as long as it's going to take. You just don't come in acting like you're 25 to appeal to a 35-year-old crowd, because not only can your age group see the fraudulent attempt, but the 25-year-olds can see it too. This will cause your efforts to fail. You get what I'm saying? So there is some type of masking that you can do depending on how you like to play things, how your styling is, how you carry yourself. But most people can tell that you're a little bit more mature by the way you talk and the way you speak. And once we see that, we get it. We know Future isn't 20 some years old. We know this by his style. You get what I'm saying? So I'm quite sure we knew that when he was coming in the gate. You get what I mean? Now, what's the shortcut to getting to their pockets? There isn't one. They're very cautious. If you're still trying to take the easy way out at this point in your 30s, it's a wrap. Now, for anyone at this point, it's a wrap if you're trying to take the easy way out and saying, I'm going to start a record label and I'm just going to put out music, right? And I'm just going to shoot the video and just do it the regular way it's been done. It's a wrap at that point. You get what I'm saying? So you still have to go through the usual channels of social media to build that awareness and attention for yourself. But then you have to find a way to actually target your actual age group, which makes it a little bit more difficult. Because remember, the attention span of this age group is even shorter probably than the 20-year-olds because of the time. It makes it short. Now, here's what I suggest. Keep going with your career despite what anyone says, but take a real good look at your plan to grow and execute your career, because it's going to take time to grow. Be realistic with your timeline and make an effort to deliver quality content and products. I think I've really been saying that this whole video. But while you're doing that, you're going to need a foundation to build all of this upon. And I was just talking to somebody today from Chicago. So anyway, and we were going through this and we were same age group. You get what I'm saying? But you're going to need this framework to establish your record label or your publishing company or whatever you're trying to do music related. You're going to need this framework that I've created called a 60-day record label course. And we're going to set up your LLC and bank account and mesh them together flawlessly with some base level anonymity to keep the people out, but allow yourself room to grow your business on instead of growing it with nothing. Because in your 30s, you're going to need everything you need to start out on the right foot, because you don't have much more time to waste. And then we're going to collect your international and domestic publishing royalties and record royalties all directly to your pocket, cutting out the middleman. And lastly, because you need to really know how this game works on paper, because you're setting out on this journey, we're going to go through some contracts here so you understand how this game actually works via the paper, which is what you need to know. That's where the rules of the game are written. But anyway, all this stuff is included. You can click the link down below to learn a little bit more about the course. And I'm quite sure somebody will show up in the comment sections yet again telling you how great this course is, because it really is great. I wish I had this course when I was 21 years old. Now, book a call with me, because I know you got questions and I got answers, and we're going to develop a strategy for you to win together. I got you. And if this is your first time watching the channel, grab the free stuff right down below. Anyway, Approaching the age group authentically looks like this. Increased following at a quicker pace, more money at a quicker pace depending on how you run your operation, a loyal fan base that actually has deeper pockets, and more unique opportunities due to 30 and ups having deep connections. I didn't mention that. That's an upside, so that's not a bit of a disappointment. You get what I'm saying? But it's just you gotta be real with yourself. You gotta have things done with quality, and you gotta be authentic. I know these rules go with anybody else younger than 30 plus, but I'm just saying. Now, approaching the age group inauthentically looks like a lead to lackluster fan bases. No consistent support. Lots of energy wasted spinning your tires, and you did all of that in your 20s, so why keep doing it now? Like, really buckle down, get a plan together, book a call on the site, jump into the 60-day record label course, because this is where you want to be. Remember, you don't have time to waste, so you got to get it right now, right? And I know you got extra money, so you need to put some extra money and elbow grease on top of this operation so you can go ahead and get it going with the time that you do have. All right, music money makers? So this is where you want to be. So ultimately, this fan base will require massive amounts of quality and attention to detail and consistency, something that you would have done in your 20s, but you got to really appeal to this new, stubborn, older age demographic that needs much more than what it took in the 20s to actually get people on board. So if you can understand that, you can get through that, understand that the gears that you're going to have to grind, it's going to be a lot tougher, but you're still going to stay consistent with it, then you'll be all right in this thing. And no, 30 isn't too old, or 30 plus isn't too old to pursue music. You just got to get your game together, and you got to have it tight. All right, music money makers. So if you make music, you should always make money. Log on to musicmoneymakeover.com, jump into the 60-day record label course, book a call on there, and download the free stuff right below this video. And I'll see you next time. Peace.